Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Bentar, joined alongside J-Dawg.
Mike, it's good to see you again. We had a big night out on Saturday. One of your last nights out before you and your wife have a baby.
Yeah, it was a rough night. Long night, a lot of drinking.
It wasn't a rough night. It was a rough next day.
Rough next day, yeah. Fun Saturday night. Saw some hockey, a little Korean barbecue, but it was Sunday was a waste of a day. I couldn't move, couldn't do anything. It was exhausting. Not fun. So,
well, once this baby happens, you can't have another day like that for at least 18 to 20 years. So just so you know.
I don't know how we went with dads, and I don't know how those dads function the next day because I'm pretty sure we all drank about the same, and I couldn't do it. Like if I had a child, like that child's not getting taken care of today at all.
You mentioned we went with the dads. I feel like the dads love to get out and away from their families too. So I feel like we might still have some days with you as we go. Hopefully none of the dads' wives are listening to the Sports Hangover, and maybe not your wife, but hopefully we still get some nights out with Mike after baby boy comes.
They all had the same similar story. They're like, well, we don't know when the game's going to end. Could be 11, could be this, could be that. It's like, all right, yeah, that's good. You just let them know that it could be later than normal.
And it did good overtime. So it was later than normal. It really pushed past when we thought. Those guys must have gotten back late / the next morning. I don't know. Is one of them still missing? Who knows?
Could be. We don't know.
We love hockey games in person. We don't love them on TV, just as a rule of thumb. It's great in person, Mike. I love sitting down low, crypto.
It's great.
I've been going like every other Saturday lately. So it's like that's kind of my place to hang out on the weekends. But it's always so fun to be
And
there.
you can Metro almost directly there, right? From your place. Which is nice.
Metro to our dinner spot and to crypto.com. Both options.
It's great. That's great. You didn't Metro home though at midnight, right?
Not at that time of day. I support the Metro during daylight hours.
Good.
I'll speak for them after. A lot of scandals going on in the sports world, and it turns out the first scandal we're going to cover, Mike, I didn't realize this until a few minutes ago. The Sports Hangover is sending a reporter to the Dodgers game tonight to figure out what is going on with Shohei. You're going over to figure this all out. You're going to talk to people, get the vibe, and see what's really going on.
I'll be there spring training. Obviously, it doesn't start yet, so it's going to be pretty boring. Definitely not going to be drinking, so it's going to be tough. And also, Erin, she was like, I've never been to a baseball game sober before, so this will be a first for her as well. So we'll see how that goes.
This is preseason. Like Ohtani's going to play for like one inning or two, and then he'll leave.
We're leaving.
Really odd that you're going. You're going on a Monday night after we just had a big night out during spring training at Dodger Stadium, where they still charge $18 beers. So tough combo. But good luck.
We're not drinking tonight. But yeah, we got to get into the scandal. So I will research
first of all,
while we're there.
Yeah, you have a ton of research I know you're going to share with us. One thing I want to say at the top here is Mike saw it coming. Sportsadamus, we're known for our sports predictions. We're known for a great podcast name and great sports predictions. Those are two things we're actually known for.
That's good. And, I'll take that.
Yeah, and that's great. It turns out that you predicted a huge scandal involving gambling in sports, and it turns out maybe the biggest star in all of sports, the guy who worldwide might be number one, Mike, he's the one now caught up in this betting scandal.
And I will say, Nostradamus, when he predicts his predictions, not like the Sportsadamus, it's always a little vague. And that's okay because you got to cast a wide net and things do happen. So if you ever read his writing, it is ultra vague. So at least we had it like it's a sport and something with gambling. So it's pretty accurate. But this is big. And I think a lot more is about to happen. I don't think this is the end of gambling issues in any of the leagues because we're kind of seeing it trickle down a little bit. I don't know. Do you know that I have like kind of a timeline here of like what's going on, what's been happening. We're also right now, as we're speaking, I think Ohtani is at a press conference, probably just reading a script that's getting interpreted by a new interpreter. So
how bizarre is that? A new interpreter just comes in to keep working with him. It's like, dude, extra pressure on you not to screw up at this point. The last one kind of led us down a dark road, but he did just give a statement. He read from the paper, like you said, took no questions, very lawyer speak. I'm sure his lawyers even wrote it for him, so nothing crazy there. What we do know is it really happened quickly last week. It was like last Wednesday or Thursday. All of a sudden, the story drops. The Dodgers were in Korea. They were playing real games last week. How ridiculous is it that you're going to spring training tonight? They're 1-1 in the regular season. They come back to do more spring training before the season starts.
Those counted in Korea.
The two in Korea counted. The two in Dodger Stadium tonight and tomorrow don't. And then on Thursday, they count again. So baseball, you're doing great.
Great job. Great job to confuse everybody.
So the story broke. And by the way, during those games in Korea, Ohtani and his interpreter are having their usual
Great
long
time.
mid-game conversations. They're laughing it up. They're slapping each other. Ohtani is acting like he has no knowledge of what's going on with this interpreter. But it was right after one of the games is when the interpreter addressed the clubhouse, and Ohtani says it happened for the first time. We're leaving out some key details here, but people know that he is being accused of betting. His interpreter is with Shohei's account in some places, but either way, this guy is out $4.5 million to an illegal bookmaker right here in Southern California. And the point is that me and you both deal with on a daily basis is we can't legally bet here in Southern California, which means Shohei can't and his interpreter can't. And that's why this is all a huge legal issue.
So it's interesting because it's like Ohtani's lawyers accused him of theft. But then there was also like the story that Ohtani helped pay off the interpreter's debt. But then it was like, oh no, the second story is Ohtani had no knowledge of this at all. And I think that was after.
Right. So why are there two stories? That's a great first place to start.
And it's both from like a lawyer and Ohtani. It's very fishy. I will also say with gambling and bookies, listen, I know the guy's rich. I don't understand. If Ohtani's involved, this man is the most competitive man in the world that's just gambling on random sports with his guy, because that, and I will say, it almost makes me love him more that he's so competitive that he has to actually gamble. This man has signed the biggest contract in the world and is still gambling, if this is true. But also, I don't know who's floating $4 million unless you, like, I don't know how you lose $4 million unless somebody's covering that money, right? Like, I know maybe your bookie will like cover you until you hit a certain number, but it's interesting that, like, what? You have $4 million of debt that just randomly popped up. Seems a little fishy.
The interpreter is not on Shohei's $700 million contract. The interpreter makes much, much less, possibly $100,000 to $200,000 a year. He doesn't have many expenses traveling around. I'm sure Shohei buys him cool stuff. The guy isn't hurting for money. But you're right. At the same time, why is a guy making that salary able to be in a $4.5 million hole? Mike, you don't make that much money in a salary, and I don't think a sports bookie would allow you to be in a $4.5 million hole. There would be red flags that come up before that point, except either Shohei is floating it or Shohei is the close liaison of this guy, and they know that Shohei will help him out and be a part of it. But I just want to cover the two different stories. So on Tuesday, apparently the interpreter, he sat down for 90 minutes for an ESPN interview with Jeff Passan, one of ESPN's top reporters. 90 minutes laying out how Shohei knew about it. Shohei was mad about it. Shohei said, I will pay you the money to cover it. It's okay. Clearly, the interpreter was trying to keep his job during all of this, and that fizzled out. Now, that 90-minute interview happened with ESPN. ESPN has the quotes. They have the story. Apparently, the interpreter told stories of how Shohei was sitting at his laptop with him on the computer as he transferred the money from Shohei's account to the illegal sports bookie. So this is all said on the record. And then it was after this interview occurred with ESPN where Shohei's lawyers called ESPN and said, whoa, whatever this guy said, it's illegitimate. You can't run it. He's wrong. He's a criminal. And that's when the story came out that he stole the money. So that's what the story is going on now, that Shohei's money was stolen. It was done without his knowledge, because even if Shohei was aware, even if he was sitting with his bookmaker and never intended to bet on sports himself, but transferred money to the bookmaker from the interpreter, Shohei would be suspended by the terms of the CBA. And so that has not happened yet, even as MLB investigates. But super fishy how they changed the story, and they made this guy's first 90-minute interview now illegitimate.
So I was reading some articles, and there's like, I don't know, it's like Major League Rule 21. It's like states that a player and employees who bet on a game in which they aren't involved face a 1-year suspension. So that's possible that could happen. Then Rule 2 of this 21 also says if you bet on a game, you'll be banned permanently from the sport of baseball. And that's why
baseball, right?
If you bet on baseball, but they're allowed, MLB players and personnel are allowed to bet on sports, provided that those bets are placed legally, which there's no legal gambling here in California.
Which is a whole other story, right? Because in like 40 states, when you're watching these games, when you're watching ESPN Bet and all these things, you're bombarded with the gambling messages. Yet right here in LA, we can't legally bet. It's also backwards right now.
It is. And can I say that I feel like if you're a professional player, an MLB, NHL, NBA, NFL, I feel like you should not be able to gamble, because I have a feeling if you're Ohtani or LeBron James or somebody, LeBron could just hit up anybody in any sport and be like, hey, what's going on tonight? How you guys feeling? Like, what's the vibe of the game? More inside info than anybody. I can't get that. I can't just hit up LeBron on a Friday night and be like, how you feeling tonight? You going to play out the whole game? You sitting out? You're going to announce it before? What's going on? And I feel like you should not just be allowed to bet on any professional sports if you're a professional player, because the lines are too fishy here. And with this guy was Ohtani's out. I think Ohtani was involved. I think they were gambling. They probably love it. They're probably gambling addicts, and they just fucking love gambling. And he's like, dude, you're going to have to take the fall for this, and shit's going to happen. I got to play baseball. I got to keep my $700 million, keep gambling. That's what's
It's important to note this guy's not just his interpreter who shows up for 8 hours a day and works with him and leaves. They are best friends. They travel the world together in the off season. They're living in Japan together. In the season, they're with the Dodgers and Angels together. They're always traveling. They're always with each other. Shohei himself said, no one else speaks what I speak. And so when we travel or go anywhere, this is the guy I'm hanging out with. So the idea that he was just working with him and an acquaintance and never a close friend doesn't hold up because of all the time that they definitely spent together.
There's also like another like little blip from the article that is what's his name, a Pippi or something, like the
Ippy,
translate. Yeah, he said he attended UC Riverside, and a spokesperson said this man never attended UC Riverside. He was never there. So
I saw that.
He's lying a lot. Like there's a lot of lies flying around, and I don't know what the thought process is. Maybe they didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. Maybe they know, like, what isn't like the FBI getting involved in shit right now? Like a lot of stuff. Because this
bookmaker, Mike, is if there's 4.5 million out for Ohtani and Ippy, he's got millions and millions spread out, and the government clearly doesn't want to deal with that. We can debate whether the government should be dealing with more important things.
Probably.
Because if this guy's in Nevada, if he's across the state line, there's no problem with what he's doing. But because he's living here in LA, we got private investigators and the whole government working on it.
The government likes to do a lot of stuff, like banning TikTok. Like that's something they probably shouldn't do either. But whatever.
That's a different story. I had this boiled down to just a few different theories on what actually happened
give it to
here.
me.
And it's kind of like Kate Middleton, which we're going to talk about. I know people are obviously downloaded this to get more Kate Middleton because things have come out. We have more to say. We're not completely wrong. We'll get to that, so stick around. The Ohtani scenario comes down to three things. Three possible things happened here. Number one, it's what he's now saying. It's version 2 of the story where Ippy completely stole the money. Shohei never had any idea. He was completely burned by a guy who he thought was his friend, his best friend, his main acquaintance, everything like that. That's a possibility. Even if we don't believe it, it is a possibility. Number two, something maybe a little more likely, is the first version of the story, which is Shohei was not gambling. Shohei didn't want to be a part of this man's gambling, but his best friend, the guy who he travels the world with and trusts more than anyone, trusts him with his own words, his own language, has been now in a gambling hole of $4 million. Ohtani has $700 million. Very easy to pay him off. It's like me giving you $20, right? It's like that's the equivalent. And so it's very easy if Shohei wanted to save his friend. That's a version of this that I think is very likely. If that comes out to be true by MLB investigators, Shohei should be suspended a year based on what you said, MLB Rule 21, which I'm glad you quoted.
I got a lot of, pulled up
and then
a lot
the third
of stats
version, just to sum that up, is Shohei is a compulsive gambler. He is wildly betting on all sports, all the sports you can think of, including March Madness. He was seen at a March Madness game like 3 years ago. It looked like he was sweating a parlay, as some people have commented on. Maybe he's a huge soccer fan and he's betting on all these Japanese soccer matches. And so if he is betting, that's the Pete Rose situation where he should be banned for baseball, blacklisted, which is so wild, Mike, because this is the Babe Ruth of our generation, the best hitter and the best pitcher. He does it all. No one's done that since Babe Ruth was on this planet at the level he does, and we might be losing him to something as big of a scandal as we've ever seen in sports, if that's what comes out.
I mean, I imagine this is going to be investigated pretty quickly, so I imagine we get some sort of like determination of what happened in the next like few weeks, but it's kind of crazy. Like there's some crazy thing out there that I don't know. I guess it's like, what's the most obvious thing? They both were in on it. His interpreter's trying to cover it up, and that's kind of the end of the story. And if they can't find a track back to Ohtani, which they already kind of do with all the money being transferred, I think he might be out. And it's kind of crazy, but he's playing tonight, right? I'm going to go see him at least play once.
You're going to go see him. You tell me. Is he playing tonight? Yes, he's going to be
hopefully
there.
He plays once, and then we'll see from there. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's so crazy.
It's wild. So a few other things. Pete Rose, like I said, he was banned for doing this. He was a great hitter in his own time. Very scandalous. He was found yesterday in Vegas. That's where he hangs out, oddly enough.
Love it.
And Pete Rose said he wishes he had an interpreter in the 70s and 80s, and he'd be okay right now. So that was one thing I saw. That was pretty funny. And then the other thing, I think you sent me this TikTok. I saw it as well. There's 3 particular games, and this is going super, super deep on this, but there's 3 particular games. Ohtani's this incredible pitcher. Every time he pitches, he wins. He gives up very little runs. There's 3 games where he gave up a bunch of runs. On all 3 of those games, it's like 3 that he's ever done in MLB. There was bets placed in his hometown of Japan with this bookmaker for $500,000 or more for each of those 3 games. One of those games was on July 22nd when we were in Vegas. I have a picture right back here somewhere of all of us in Vegas at that steakhouse. The Dodgers the Angels and Braves played that night. I bet against my team, knowing it was against Ohtani because Ohtani pitches so well. And for some reason, the Braves exploded and scored all these runs. And so it's very fresh in my mind because I lost my bet. I was like, what's going on? And either Ohtani threw the game. Is that possible? That's like the Pete Rose scenario where we have to ban him for life if he's really doing that. The other scenario is, what if Ippy knew he was sick? What if Ippy knew his shoulder hurt? And that goes to your point of inside info. Is that legal? It doesn't seem like it should be legal at that point.
I mean, I guess if you're injured, it should be reported on injury report. But yeah, I mean, that TikTok, we got to link it in here. This guy broke down each individual game where money was bet on, and he kind of showed like what happened, what he actually bet on too, like the over-under hits or runs for a team. And it's kind of crazy. So maybe it was just that. Maybe he's just like, hey guys, like, you need some money. I'm gonna win you some money here. Just like, here's some little inside info, and you can go place your whole mortgage on it, and I'll pay it off. I don't know. It's probably gonna get deeper because they're probably gonna find a lot more money wire transfers somewhere, because it doesn't sound like he has a good hold on his money if he's just wiring $4 million. I don't even know how you wire $4 million without being alerted by somebody, right? Like,
well, and he's saying he doesn't know. It came out of his account. Maybe he's not following the millions coming out of his account. You'd think he should be as someone in that position.
Well, don't they catch you now for like not even Venmo? You Venmo more than $600, like the IRS.
The IRS
it's like,
comes. Yeah.
This man transferred $4.5 million, and there's no red flags. That's
I don't
crazy.
think they're on public Venmo. Maybe set to private.
Yeah, you got to set to private. Yeah. Or Zelle.
So you're gonna go find out what the vibe is at Dodger Stadium. Are they booing Ohtani? Are they still supporting him? You're gonna let us know next week on the show, so that'll be good.
I love a good gambler. Yeah.
But you also think maybe he should be suspended for life.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't break the rules or don't get caught, right? One of the two. So.
You think he might be suspended? My last thing on that is I think MLB has so much incentive to not let him get suspended. And so how heavy-handed could they be? It's hard to say. I'm not going to speculate on that yet. But if they really want to, you would think that they would prevent a full-on banning if it's up to them. I
mean, I also saw that since his interpreter was fired, now Ohtani can technically just leave the contract for the Dodgers, right?
Yeah, he's so close to this guy. He put in his contract these 3 individuals, his interpreter, the GM, and the owner. If any of them leave the Dodgers during his contract, he's allowed to leave at the end of that year.
So crazy. This man's not leaving if he's got a lot of gambling debt. So
no,
we'll see what happens. All right, you want to get into?
We got more scandals.
Yeah, let's just go. You want to do Kate Middleton?
Scandal City for me. Yeah.
My board's up there right now. It's a little hidden away.
Up where?
It's just like tucked away. I don't want to untuck it right now.
All right.
My
Before
desk
we
is
get to
clean.
Kate Middleton, we'll keep teasing it. Another woman in the news, Kim Mulkey, another goddess of a fan base, if you will.
I don't know
She's
who
the
that
LSU women's basketball coach,
okay.
and she is in hot water. And the most biggest scandal you can imagine right now, except we don't know what the scandal is, Mike. She got ahead of a Washington Post story. Apparently, there's a story coming out this week on women's basketball coach Kim Mulkey, who's been a legend, and they've been investigating her for 2 years and talking to players all around the program. She has been up to some shit, but we don't know what it is. But Kim Mulkey at the women's NCAA tournament this weekend did a press conference, and she did a 3-minute ranting about the Washington Post, ranting about media, ranting about investigative journalism, about gotcha journalism, about she's going to sue this man when the article comes out. No one knows what's in the article, and she did this like promotion for it. People are saying like, I didn't even care about the article before, but now she did a 3-minute rant on how she's going to sue this guy. Everyone wants to see the article that's coming out soon, so we don't have the payoff yet, but we know Kim Mulkey is very scared, and her team is in the tournament. Like, they might be in the Final Four. Could this come out right around then? Could she be suspended, fired? College athletics. We're seeing scandals from everywhere. College athletics is full of them as a rule.
What's weird is it's like a lot of these are coming out now. There's one that just came out about Andrew Huberman, the guy. I like listening to him. He does all the neuroscience, like hacking your body, doing all this stuff. something just came out about him in the New Yorker about like how he was dating like 5 women at once, and they just like wrote this whole hit piece on him. And it's kind of crazy. Everybody's just like attacking everybody now. Like, we got to cancel these people. And it's crazy. I don't understand what's happening. Like,
well, sometimes, Mike, I was watching the Nickelodeon documentary, Quiet on the Set, and sometimes it's very necessary to whistleblow and call these people out with stories.
Did you finish it?
As we saw. I didn't finish it. I saw the Drake episode, and that was terrible. That was really terrible.
It's not. The guy's weird. The guy's like the Dan, whatever his name is.
The Dan guy is weird, but then the one writer on Drake and Josh, he's a pedophile, clearly. I mean, we might be giving things away here. We're jumping into
well,
another
it's also
story.
like, don't put your kids in acting. It's weird.
Check
shit.
out Quiet on the Set if you watch Nickelodeon as a kid of the '90s, like us. It's kind of wild and actually.
I didn't
want
to finish it. It's like ruining my childhood. Like all these.
No, but the truth should come out. It shouldn't take this long. It's like the Me Too movement took so long for the truth to come out.
Yeah, but it's weird. Like all these things are produced. It's like years and years, and then I don't know, just crazy.
And it's
stuff.
sick. We're here in Hollywood, Mike. Like these guys who make these decisions. Why are they all so sick and perverted and disturbing? Like,
I know.
Why is that the common thread among them?
And then you look at like the Nickelodeon sign. It's like a foot, and that guy like loved feet or something.
I know. I love Nickelodeon. It was in Orlando, right down the street from us. That was great. Anyway, we took a turn there.
Yeah,
college scandal. So we're going to see what happens with this Washington Post story. All eyes on it. Hopefully we can recap it next week as well.
You want to do Kate? I feel like
let's do Kate.
All right, let's talk about Kate. So you were not here last week, and I think a lot of information was dropped last week when you were gone. But previously, we talked about how Kate, something's wrong, something's happening. She wasn't seen in public. There was like a semi-seen public photo from TMZ, but then TMZ actually debunked it and said, "Yeah, we can't actually confirm that's Kate at all." And then AI
that was the
going
video
in.
of her and William walking, right? And she was carrying a bag, and she looked too skinny. It's like, if you can't get on video and give us a video, why are you carrying a big bag as you shop?
And then this last week, she had an announcement. She has cancer. Didn't say specifically what kind of cancer, which, bad for all of us trying the conspiracy theory, like what was going on. But then an additional conspiracy theory came out.
Pause
and said,
on that for just a second. Let's recap to where we got there. So she put out the video, and it made a lot of people like us, TikTok stars, YouTube stars, digital stars like ourselves. It made us look bad because it made us seem like we were just speculating about a woman who's actually very sick and dealing with a private health issue. One is she is in the royal monarchy, and nothing about her health should be private. They announced King Charles' cancer right when it happened, like a normal announcement, and there was no fumbling around King Charles videos. We knew what he had.
No
and we
edited photos saying we're all happy here. Yeah,
and so there's a way to handle cancer announcements, and Kate's was not the way to handle it. The second thing is, Mike, that I need to make sure that we take some credit on here on the Sports Hangover and across TikTok is we were right that what they were saying about Kate was not accurate.
Correct.
Something was up. We figured it out. Sure, it wasn't the outcome we wanted. We didn't want her to be sick. We didn't want her to be dead. There was a scenario where she was dead. There was a scenario where she was being muzzled and silenced and kicked out of the royal family. At least those things are not happening. We don't wish her cancer on anyone. We hope she's okay. I'm just saying, Mike, we were not wrong for speculating and debunking and going through the investigations, and all of our podcasts on our feed below hold up well with the current situation at hand.
I will say Sports Hangover was ahead of it by a few days before the internet sleuths all came out. But I will say I think the surge of internet conspiracies helped push the monarchy and the royals to push something out because they got the pressure from the public and like, where is Kate? It was like on the news all of a sudden by the end of the week. It's like CNN's like, Kate Middleton is missing. Where is she? So then finally we got something. But the something we got, now there's a lot of stuff. I feel like I should link some TikTok videos here. There is a video of her back in like 2017 wearing that exact outfit in that like field area, that the striped shirt with the white up here.
Really? I didn't see that.
People are thinking it could be AI. An AI specialist zoomed in and said at moments you see the mouth go black with the teeth disappearing. Listen,
I thought of AI right away with that crushed background. The bench seemed like perfectly too good to be true. I don't know about the Kate aspect of AI. I know there are fakes like that. I know, Mike, if someone wanted to take me or you and our physical likeness and our voices and put us on a bench in England, they could probably do a really good job with it with AI.
They got like 14
so it is
years
possible.
of us talking. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, different heads of hair, but we're all there.
So that's true. Her hair didn't change yet. Where are you at on if this is actually AI? Are you like over 50% that's not actually her on the bench?
I'm like 50-50. I think the people that came out and were pointing out certain things that were weird in the outfit. Why would she reuse an outfit from years ago that's there? Like, was she imposed there? Did she do an interview on that bench previously that they could superimpose her mouth into? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we saw Sora come out and like the video was pretty clear. Some of the AI stuff isn't great, but the masking abilities inside of like video editors and stuff is pretty good. So if you just need a head in that head or the mouth to move, but she can still move around. I don't know. I'm like 50-50. I think we need a little more information. It was unclear what the cancer was. I think that should have been, I don't know, something.
Well, there's no more information. There are no more updates. There are no more videos to come. She silenced all that. She said she's asking for privacy and she's moving on. Now, I know you have a further theory. Maybe this is only on TikTok, but there's a way to get rid of her. The palace could get rid of her with this announcement, right? Can you tell us about that?
I don't even remember. I've seen so many now. I have no idea.
Well, that was just what's the theory? The theory is she could, and we don't want this to happen, but she could pass away from her cancer that she announced, but do it in like a private way. You announce that she's gone and move on, and there's like, the conspiracy is not dead. It's like it's softened. We've quieted. I actually don't agree with you. I don't think it's AI. I want to be on the record with that. I think that's her on the bench, just so one of us, for legal purposes, actually stays that. But I do think it's not dead yet. She's not dead yet, and so there's more to come.
It's interesting because she could be dead. This could be a whole thing. We've seen them set up before. The whatever it's called, the press came out and removed things from the AP. So a lot of those photos were manipulated. I don't really know. If there were no manipulations in photos or previous photos or anything fishy where like TMZ videos are coming out, I would have been like 100%. She's sick. Give her privacy. But now I'm kind of like, you're a public figure and you edited all these photos and now this could be a fake video. You could already be dead. You could have recorded that 3 months ago. And it could have just been something they're like, hey, we got to release it now and we'll kind of plan this a little later. So we'll see. I'm going to follow the updates. I mean, the internet... My feed is weirdly switched to I have no more Kate Middleton stuff, so I'm gonna have to try to get back.
Are you Ohtani now?
Sure. A lot of Ohtani stuff, yeah. That's why I'm like reading Rule 21.
Scandal to scandal. TikTok and the Sports Hangover. Stay on that. You're right. So we'll see what happens next. I don't know who all those people were and all those things they put out. That video walking was not her.
No.
The bloated in the car didn't look like her.
That was
the
definitely
family picture was her from Vanity Fair. So like, I still wonder where she's been. It didn't look like she's been like laid up in bed this whole time. But who are we to say?
We'll find out. I got one more scandal for you if you want to do it real quick.
I do. I hope it's a scandal I want to talk about.
Yeah. This is so I read this article last week, and supposedly there are brokers that are giving out tee times in LA for like some of these parks, and there's like an app, and you like hit up these guys to get a tee time. It's $40 on the black market. These brokers are charging to get a tee time, like up here at Griffith Park. And supposedly like everybody knows about this guy, but the problem is it's just like, I don't understand what is happening and how it's possible for all these people. The article didn't explain how all these tee times are taken up immediately. Are somebody just buying them every day and then just dishing out and making a little like hedge on the top of it? It's so weird.
So the backstory is LA is very elitist, and there are very few public golf courses, drivable, that you can get to on like a Saturday morning of all times. I'm sure on Wednesday afternoons, tee times are available. But this scandal is about LA City public golf, kind of everything within drivable, an hour and a half
Griffith
of LA.
Park, stuff like that.
Think about weekend tee times, specifically weekend mornings. They all come online at a certain time, like maybe 7 days out, 8 days out, whatever it is. Like concert tickets, they all become available at a certain time. So these brokers that you read about in the LA Times, they have AI, they have computer technology that when the moment these come out, say it's 8 days out at 12:01 a.m., their computers buy up all of the tee times. So a normal person like me who does not own a car in LA, who might be able to Uber within an hour anywhere to any public course around LA, can't actually buy weekend golf tee times because they are bought by these brokers. I don't know how to get in touch with a broker even if I wanted one of their tee times. So they're not advertising their broker enough around LA because I'd buy tee times from them.
I found the article kind of broke it down. You have to download this like certain app, and you'll be able to like message him, and then you can just get the tee time for $40.
This is sketchier than Ohtani's translator.
I know. This is all happening in LA. LA is a fucking mess. We just got wild shit going on. But I don't think the city's doing anything about it. That's the crazy part. It's just like, it's well known Like, that's what the article kept saying. It's like, this guy is well known, and you know to hit him up if you need a time.
Well, I didn't know, and I do play golf, and I have a legacy of being around golf. I did know that it's very hard to play golf in LA on weekend mornings, and at first I was always like, why is this happening? And then a few months ago I found out about this scandal. I'm glad we're bringing it to light, and hopefully the city does something about it.
That's all I got. We can talk about all the moves in NFL next week if you want. I feel
We'll
like
save
some more
those. I
moves.
just have a timely one. One more scandal as we're on it. Aaron Rodgers might be named RFK Jr.'s vice president this week. What do you mean it's fake? He interviewed him. And we now know that RFK interviewed 4 people. Jesse the Body Ventura was one. Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs was 2. Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback of the Jets, was 3. And this woman we've never heard of was 4. What do you mean no? This is the story.
I didn't actually think the Aaron Rodgers thing was real. There's no way Aaron Rodgers is going to be vice president and play football this year.
Don't you think it goes to the theory, this has been a whole conspiracy theory pod, we might as well keep it going. Doesn't it go to the theory that Rodgers never actually wanted to play for the Jets, and his little run out of the tunnel with the American flag was what he signed up for last year? The ACL was always going to happen on the first drop back, and now vice president was always going to happen the second season. It would thread that a little more clearly.
I think it would just, if he is playing this year, which it seems like he is, it would be really hard to go on tour and with RFK and go... I think he's just going to get that girl. I saw that girl, too. I have no idea who it is. That lady.
Her last name's Shanahan, but unrelated to Kyle Shanahan.
Yes, unrelated, yeah. Jesse the Body Ventura is still, like, doing stuff? He's still out there?
Yeah. You laughed at that one. That was real.
Yeah, wow.
Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, go clean up D.C. I get the message
I can
in
see
there.
that. It's, you know what it is? It's, like, very publicly spoken people anti-vaccine, which is sad, but that's all their threads between all of them.
That's his thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Cheryl Hines. I support Cheryl Hines. Is all
I do too. Yeah, we like RFK. Yeah,
all right,
that's all I got.
Mike, so let's do a little tease here. We got NFL stories coming up next week. We got a backlog because I was in New York.
We do have a
week.
backlog.
I'm going to do some NBA news. Going to catch people up on what's going on in the NBA. We'll talk some March Madness, and stay tuned next week for a Brawny James update.
You got another Brawny James. People really hating on our ball knowledge out there. They're not. They don't think we know ball, but obviously you keep updating. So.
I listen to them, and I've been watching NBA like one game a night, Western Conference. I can't watch the East, so that's a teaser
ball.
for...
You know ball.
Yeah,
okay?
one night, one game a week.
Yes,
of course.
That's all you got in you. All right, good show. Check out thesportshangover.com. Follow us on TikTok, The Sports Hangover. Like, comment. We're also on YouTube. Subscribe to us. Go through a subscribe out there. You don't even have to watch it. Just subscribe. That's all we want. Subscribers, okay? All right, good show. See you.